Hi, Shelley here. I've got an idea of what I want to do today overall in my art journal. I want to have 3 birds with texture paste designs on them as my focal point, but I'm not sure how to get started, not sure about my background. It's often helpful for me to begin with collaging or mark making because I don't have to think too much about what I'm doing, and it kind of gets my creative juices flowing. So open up your art journal, grab some of your collage papers or just some papers, some gel prints, maybe some markers, and let's see where it leads us. On days like today when I've got an idea of parts of the page but I have no idea how to get started, I like to go through my stash and hopefully it's going to spark some inspiration and I can get going. I found some jelly pages that I did that I thought I chose this color palette. I'll put that up so you can see what I wanted to do today, I think. And so I had some jelly prints that I might use, and then I used to work for a place that had made a bunch of stickers and then had several left over and was throwing them away, and I said, well, wait, can I have those? And they said sure. And so these are just, and they're not very sticky, I'll have to glue them on, but that's every time I gel printed for a long time I would roll off my brayer on these. And so they're kind of all in that same color palette that I want to do, I think. And then I was thinking I had some dictionary pages and I thought I would play with my markers. I've got 2 already that I've done in the past, but to me this is a really neat way to get me doing something. Is because I'm actually creating something and there's no threat, there's no I don't have to worry, I don't have to use it if I don't want to. Try not to think too hard about it. I don't want them to be perfect. Obviously that one was not. But it's just a great way to get things moving and getting you feeling like maybe you could pull something off, you know. All right, I've also got, I forgot to mention, I've also got my jar of tissue paper designs that I've made over the years, and I've used portions of them, and then I have bits that I put in here. And they're fun. I like them in my art room to look at, but also they're really nice when I need to pull them down and figure out something to do with them. So now I'm just going to play and figure out what I want to do in my, see what I want to use, what I don't want to use, and let's see if we can come up with something cool. All right, I am far from confident in what I've chosen, but that's part of the fun. Part of the fun is seeing if I can make something cool at the end of it. And it's just an art journal page, so it's not really a big deal if it doesn't turn out fantastic. It's not my greatest work of art. Now the reason why I use Mod Podge, I use it watered down. I love Liquitex Matte Medium, but I used to teach classes and I have a ton of this stuff that I need to get rid of. So I am determined to use it every chance I get. Some people say their pages stick together. I don't have that problem, and it might be because I add water to it to make it very, very runny. It dries faster. It just works fine for me. You use whatever you've got and you like to use. Because really, you're the only one that it matters. The other thing is that's cool about collage is if it doesn't turn out like you want it to, you can always paint over it and just have the texture in the background. You have options, and I love that. And it's cool that I've got my maps in the background from my journal pages, so that if I don't cover every smidge of it, I think it's going to be just fine. There's no such thing as a white spot in my journal. Well, I mean, obviously there's white spots, but okay, I'm pleased with it. I'm going to leave it there and let it dry completely before we continue. I swear I hit the record button. So maddening when I need to look and see, is the counter going? If it's not going, don't go. One of these days I'm going to get it. All right, so here's what I did. I put out some of my dark yellow here and added a little bit of red to it to get this darker yellow. Just plain magenta here, magenta off-white, and some yellow here to make it a little more peachy. I'm going to put a little bit more there. And then I took some off-white over here, put some of my pink here into it, and then I'm adding a little bit more yellow to make it more peachy. I think that's good. This one a little more peachy. Then on my blues, I put out some bright blue here with my mixed up, it's Caribbean, and I made a turquoise color there. Added that in with the bright blue. And then I put my Caribbean with a little bit of dark gray there. We're at the ugly stage right now. But I'm just gonna kind of get started and we'll see how we do. It's part of the fun trying to figure it out. It's often hard for me to get started, but once I get started, then it gets a little easier. You hit a brick wall every once in a while, but you've got to just keep going and hopefully you'll be able to come back. If not, it's just an art journal page. Not the end of the world if it doesn't work out. And I may not use all of these colors, but I like to have a mix ready to go to get started. If I don't use them, I will brush them off, apply them to another surface for use later on. My original thought was this is going to be a very peachy background with turquoise, but as oftentimes happens when I'm collaging, I'm kind of going with the colors that I had on my papers and what came out, and I'm kind of digging this. So I think I'm going to stay with this and not use the peachy. I'll use that for something else. And or maybe yet, I don't know, but I'm going to stop here and let this dry completely. I'm trying to figure out if I should lighten this up so my birds can be darker, but I really like my background as is. So I really don't want to mess with it anymore. So I'm trying to decide. I've got a piece of scratch paper here, and I'm going to pretend like these are my birds. And I want to just see if I can get an idea of what kind of color I would like my birds to be. See, that's not going to be, I don't know, maybe. Or maybe we do a mix. Do a pink one and a blue one. And a blue one or a yellow one. Ooh. Maybe that's what we do. Okay. Possibility. All right, well, we will think about that. Now, because this would have been pretty for a reverse to make my birds this color, I took this bird off of my bird stencil and I blew him up to 6 and then made 3 of them. And I found that if I put them on cardstock, that I can do whatever I want with them and then toss it when I'm done. Because I'm probably not going to use this exact bird, this exact size again. And that way I keep my stencil sheets that are a little bit more expensive, quite a bit compared to the cardstock, and keep that for just the stencils that I'm going to reuse over and over and over again. So that's why what I've done here. Start my birds, I think what I want to do is take a little bit of off-white and do the whole bird. I hate to cover up that background. I love it so much. Now I'm going to line up my birds again. And I've got some small stencils with a little bit more detail. And That's enough. I've got 2 flowers. And I think if you use anything that's got a smaller surface, it's going to give you a cooler, well, not necessarily, but I think for something this size, it'll be better if it's smaller, but I don't know. It's just what I'm thinking. You do whatever you want. Whatever makes you happy. I'm not going to put on a thick coat. I'm going to put on a pretty thin coat. Not too thin. Get my paper towels ready. I like it. All right, now this is going to take a little bit to dry. I think I'll hit it with my heat tool to get it jump on it. Page is not dry yet, but it's been about 20 minutes and it's well on its way. But I just wanted to show you, can you see the high points? If I hold it like that sideways, can you see some of those high points? That's what happens when I lift the stencil off and you get some of those high points. But I don't freak out about it because at this point, about 10 to 20 minutes in, depending on how much modeling paste, maybe a little longer if I've got a really thick amount, but I just go in and tap those down. The other thing I can do is if I'm really worried about it, I can go in and wait till it's completely dry and then just pick those high points off with my, not completely, but after, you know, I don't know, maybe an hour or two. You just kind of have to play with it and see, but this application, I'm not too worried about it. So I'm just gonna tap them down. A little over there. A little bit too much there. Oh, went over there. There's still plenty of time to clean up before it dries completely. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now we can let it dry completely before we go back in and paint. Okay, it's been about an hour and a half. My paste is not 100% dry. It won't be for another 24 hours or so, but it's good enough for me to start painting. And I think what I'm, you know, I've decided I'm not anywhere near where I started out as far as what I'm doing with color, what colors I'm using and whatnot, but I'm okay with that. Sometimes we change in the middle and I think that's cool. So I think what I'm going to do is do these in a, I was messing around and I thought with the pink and the orange and with the magenta, the yellow and a little orange, I thought looked cool on top. So I think what we're going to do is do that. I'm going to start off by painting my guy yellow first. All right, it took a while to cover all that texture, but we finally got it done. And now what I think I'm going to do, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to get a little bit of water and some of my other colors and just kind of work it in here and there. Wherever I think I might like it. Don't want it to look brushed on, so that's why I'm tapping it and then blending with my finger. Oop, getting it all over my arm. I like this one, how the eye is just in the perfect spot right there with my texture. Did not plan that. Then it doesn't look like these guys have an eye. Only this one does. All right, it's getting late, so I think I'm going to let this dry overnight and then I will come and finish her up in the morning. But I'm loving how it looks so far. And now that I'm standing up and looking at it, I'm messing with it even more. It's hard knowing when to stop sometimes. Sometimes I wish I had stopped. Hopefully that will not be this time. No, I'm going to stop there. I'm done. All right, back tomorrow. Okay, now I think I want to just play with my charcoal pencil. Grunge it up a little bit. I want to add a little something more. So I've got these vines on this stencil that I think I'm going to add. Super hard to see when it's clear before I have any paint on it, especially with the glare of the above lights. To me, stencils are always a great jumping off point or beginning point. Well, that's my page. I'm very pleased by the way it turned out. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I hope you played along with me. I'd love it if you'd leave a comment down below and let me know, do you start with collage when you're trying to get things going? Or how do you? What are your favorite ways to get moving? Hey, thanks for joining me today, and I hope you'll join me on my next video. Bye for now.